Cold War was a fascinating time for military aircraft development. With the ever-present threat that the war might go hot one day, the West and East were trying their utmost to get the upper hand on each other. This involved them pushing their knowledge of the aircraft to the very limits at certain stages, and creating some weird and wonderful machines along the way. The Soviet Union built some utterly ridiculous machines, but one aircraft that has stood the test of time is the rather awesome-looking Tupolev Tu-22M backfire bomber. The backfire was a development of the early Tu-22 blinder bomber, and remarkably, the backfire is still in Russian Air Force service to this day. Its distinctive looks with its variable swing-wing design made it instantly recognizable to NATO forces, and it became every bit an icon as its turboprop counterpart, the Tu-95 Bear. What is even more remarkable is that it looks like the backfire could be in service for many years to come, with at least 100 of the type still in service. The Tu-22M is quite possibly the ultimate bomber to come from the Soviet Union. Development of the Tu-22M. The need for the Tu-22M came out of the desire to replace its predecessor, the Tu-22 blinder. The blinder was introduced into service in 1962, but it quickly became apparent that the aircraft was a major disappointment. Tupolev commenced work on a massively updated Tu-22 barely a year into the blinder's first year of service. At the same time, Sukhoi began the development of the T-4, which looked like a mini Tu-144 airliner, but the Tu-22 was chosen as it was an evolutionary design and much simpler and would be available at a lower cost. While the aircraft itself was under development, so too was the primary weapon it would carry, the Kh-22 missile. The new aircraft would soon be given its Tu-22M classification and earned the NATO nickname Backfire, with 497 aircraft, including the pre-production examples, being built in total. The aircraft would be powered by two Kuznetsov Nk-25 afterburning turbofan engines, with a variable swing wing and a top speed of 1,242 miles per hour, or Mach 1.88. Operational history of the backfire. It's fair to say that the Tu-22 became a much more successful aircraft in service than its predecessor did. It entered service in 1972 and took part in a major Warsaw Pact exercise in 1980 when it was first unveiled to the world. Tu-22s also took part in a simulator attack against American aircraft carriers in 1982, while the type was also regularly seen being escorted out of NATO airspace. Most notable, though, for the type was when it finally saw combat service being deployed in Afghanistan in 1987 and 1988. Service with Russia. Remarkably, though, despite the issues, the Tu-22M remained in service into the days of the post-Soviet Union Russia. When the Soviet Union collapsed, 370 remained in service, and later on, the Russian Federation even used the type in combat operations in Chechnya in 1995. The aircraft was even exported to the Ukrainian Air Force, but despite hoping for more sales to the likes of Iran, India, and China, no other examples of the aircraft have been exported abroad. Even now, only the Russian Air Force is still using the backfire. A wild and turbulent ride. It's fair to say that the journey to where we are now with the backfire has been an interesting one, full of bumps and turbulence. It's remarkable in itself that the development of the aircraft started before its predecessor, the Tu-22, had even had a full year in Soviet Union service. Even with the obvious improvements, the Tu-22M was still not exactly perfect, but it was a highly capable strategic bomber as it showed in Afghanistan. And had the Cold War gone hot and escalated into a global conflict, it's highly likely that the backfire would have played a crucial role in both the defense of the Soviet Union and in its plans to attack the West as well.